I'm Michael Bell with the CVB Challenge, the Christ Verse Per Book Challenge. We are seeing how Jesus Christ is not only in all 66 books of the Bible, but front and center, the protagonist, the main event, the main character of the entire Bible and each of its books. We've come now to John, and chapter 8, verse 858 says, "Truly, truly, I say to you, before Abraham was, I am." Now, I am is a normal expression. Jesus uses it many times. He says, I am the door. I am the good shepherd. I am the light of the world. I am the bread of life. There's a number of times that he uses I am. Ego, eimi, in the Greek. What makes this situation unique is that he used the present tense when we would expect the past. Before Abraham was, I was. Now, that in itself would be a tremendous claim. He would be saying that this human Jesus had a pre-existence. Before he was incarnate in human form, he was in divine form and pre-existed Abraham. So Abraham, we date to about 1900 BC. So this is going back about 2,000 years before he says this, that Abraham roamed the earth. And so he would be saying, I'm about 2,000 years or older. Of course, he's much older than that. He goes back to eternity past in his divine person. In his incarnation, he's only in his early 30s at this time. And so that in itself would be a tremendous claim. But Jesus uses a loaded term. By going to the present tense, he's not only saying, I pre-existed Abraham, he's saying, I am Yahweh. I am Jehovah God. And how do I conclude this? Well, if we go back to the burning bush in Exodus chapter 3, Moses is 80 years of age. He spent 40 years in the desert. And on one particular day, he sees that a bush is burning, and that's okay. But he keeps looking at the bush, and it should have burned out. It should have run out of fuel, and it keeps burning. He goes to see what the matter might be. And a voice calls out from the burning bush, asks him to take off his sandals. He's on holy ground. He's talking to God. Now, that text says that the angel of the Lord appeared to him, the angel. And so we understand that it's not God the Father, because God the Father has sent the angel of the Lord. The word angel is malach in the Hebrew, and the idea is that God hasn't come in person. He has sent his angel. But as we read on, we realize that God has come to this bush, because he says, take off your sandals, you're on holy ground, something that angels never insisted upon. He allowed Moses to worship, something angels would not have allowed. And then when he's asked, who should I say sent me? Because Moses knows that he's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But who is this God of the universe? What's his name? God, speaking to him through the bush, says, I am who I am. And that's here in the Hebrew. I am who I am. And by saying this, he's saying, I am God. Now, how can he be both the messenger of God and be God? Well, it's my understanding then that it is Christ. It's the second person of the Trinity prior to his incarnation, who is speaking to Moses at this time and identifying himself as the great I am. Now, what's the significance of saying I am? Well, in the mouth of God, this means I always was, I am now, and always will be. I have an existence that is not contingent on anything else. I'm not a created thing. I'm not a created being. And I can't not exist. Again, in Revelation, we have the God who was and is to come. And in the Old Testament, we have the great I am. And it gives that same sense. Now, Moses is not going to use the I am, because anyone who uses that in reference to themselves, like if I say I am who I am, well, then I'm claiming to be eternally existent, to be and eternally in the future existing, and so on. And I'm claiming divinity for myself, a non-contingent existence. So it's blasphemous for me to say I am who I am. And so God coins the word Yahweh. He is who he is, based on I am who I am. So this means he is who he is, Yahweh. And so in a sense, we say he is who he is. We don't say I am who I am. And so this is the tetragrammaton, the 4-letter special name for God. He is who he is, Yahweh. Yahweh. And the pointing is wrong because the Masoretes pointed it wrong and made it like Jehovah, and that's a whole nother discussion. But this probably should be pronounced Yahweh, and it means he is who he is. Now, when Jesus says, before Abraham was, he doesn't say he is. He doesn't say Jehovah is, or Jehovah was, or I was. He's using Ehyeh, which means I am. And in his mouth is not blasphemy, because he's the eternally existent one who at some point in history, around the year 0, was born of a virgin in the town of Bethlehem on a cold, dark night. And he became a human being to save you and me. But before that, he had been God, in the form of God. And he hasn't lost his identity, but he has lost his condition. He's changed his condition from a divine person to a human person, from an unlimited person to a limited person. We know that Jesus was limited in terms of geography, in terms of his physical. He grew hungry, he grew tired, he was ignorant, he had to learn things, he had to grow in wisdom, he was small and had to grow in stature. He was in every way like the first Adam, a true human being. But before Abraham was, I am. What this allows us to do is to read the Old Testament in a very different way, because when you see the 4-letter Lord all in caps, that's usually the English for Yahweh or Jehovah God. And what this means is that we can think about these texts Christologically as that person who would later become Jesus of Nazareth. That part of God that visits the earth and interacts with mankind and eventually becomes a human being to save mankind. Now, if Jesus is on every page of the whole Old Testament and the New Old Testament, the Yahweh of God, shouldn't he be on every page of your life and mine?